Good morning, Tamina Khan is here in TK Maths is Fun. In today's video, which is video number 1 on descriptive statistics and representative of data, which is the part of the syllabus of A-level mathematics S1. And if you want to see more challenging question, you can visit my website address and my blog address. So let's see here, according to the syllabus, we need to know all these concepts. So rather than reading here, looking a little difficult to understand, I have put them into pointer form here, the whole syllabus. So you need to have the understanding of all this. And the highlighted yellow points are those on which I have made separate videos. So basically, it covers all the concept because within this, I have covered these aspects also, right? So because they're part of it, when you're talking about them, you answer these questions also at times, depending on the question. So it starts with types of data, qualitative and quantitative. So quantitative data is like discrete and continuous, which you can count. Discrete data is that which you can count, and continuous data which you can measure, right? So if I say how many cars are there, how many people are there, what is the height of something is continuous. Do not say when it is in decimal it is continuous, because money would be in decimal, but it will not be continuous. It will be discrete, right? And qualitative, when you're talking about the quality of something like eye color, fairness, something like that, right? So we have two types of data, and you need to understand what is descriptive statistics. When you study some topic, at least you should know what it is talking about. So just 2 or 3 slides are on it. That statistics is basically to describe, to interpret, and to analyze data, right? And statistics is often categorized into descriptive and inferential statistics. And when we are talking about analytical data, it means we are using mathematical model, formula, and then the answers are giving us certain predictions. When you are using graphical method, it is helping us to make some numbers visible for communication purpose. So we will see all this in the graphs we will discuss in a little while. So this is just little extra information. If you're interested, you can put the video on pause and you can read this. Like descriptive statistics involve, I have already told this, so I think it is repetition just for extra information for my students in the class. So this slide is there. Now, very important thing, the following measures are used to describe a data set. So you need to understand when you're talking about measures of positions, what it is. It means we're talking about central tendency. And what is central tendency? You have done mean, mode, median. These are central tendency, right? When we're talking about measures of the spread, so variability, you're talking about range, standard deviation, dispersion, how much it is deviating, and then measure of shapes. So what is the meaning of these shapes? We will see in gradually in different questions. So first of all, look at these 3 slides. Now this is a box and whisker plot, and this is a shape of description, distribution. When in certain question it is asked, okay, comment on the distribution, comment of the in terms of context. So when the shape of the graph is like this, you call it negatively skewed. Now you know Q1, Q2, and Q3 are representing low quartile, upper quartile is Q3, and Q2 is median, right? So these shapes helps you to immediately answer what type of distribution you have. Negatively skewed, we will see skewness, but at the moment you can understand it tells you the inclination of the probability, right? And we have a separate video on box and whisker also. So let's just start with one of the graphical model, which is cumulative frequency. So what is a cumulative frequency? Cumulative means totaling or gradually building up. In statistics, cumulative frequency is found by adding up all successive frequency. So I will just show you the meaning of this definition in terms of table here. If you look at this table, And this table is talking about here data heights of broad bean plants. So this data is about the heights of plants in 6-week time, right? So the height between 3 to 6, is it written centimeter here? Between 3 to 6, whatever the unit it is, one frequency. So there is one plant which has height between 3 to 6 unit. Two plants have height between 6 to 9 unit, and so on. If we have to find out the cumulative frequency data from here, so what will you do? You will add up frequency, and that is common sense also. How? For example, 1 plus 2 is 3. So I can say 3 plants have height less than 9 centimeter, 9 unit, for example. 3 plus 11, 14. 14 plants have height less than 12 unit. Your 14 plants have height between 3 and 12 unit. So frequency, cumulative frequency is adding up frequency, and this is what we are talking about, adding up all successive frequency in a distribution table. So you need to understand what are the names of these, because we will use it. For example, this is called lower class boundary and this is called upper class boundary, right? So when you're making a cumulative frequency, you talk with respect to upper class boundary. I will say 14 plus 10 is 24. I will say 24 plants have height less than 15 and more than 3 units. You get it? So this is frequency table is always have a reading on the upper boundary. Okay. We will see the case when they are not same, then what do we do? Because this upper boundary of first class should be equals to lower boundary of the next class interval, right? Now class interval mean this, the values between this. So if I want to see how many values are here, I will say 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 minus 3 are 3. 3. Class interval is 3. 9 minus 6, 12 minus 9. So this will give you class width or class interval. So when you're making a frequency table, this is how you have made. You are just writing here upper boundaries. Now, very important thing here, because there is no plant which has a height less than 3 unit. So you say less than 3 unit is 0 plant, less than 6 unit is 1 plant, and this is how you complete the data of the cumulative frequency. Because whenever you plot cumulative frequency curve, you plot it on the upper boundary, right? So here is the graph. You can see that 3 is 0 and 6 you can see is on 1 and so on. Forget about this dotted at the right time, dotted lines, we will discuss it. But I'm talking about this is how you draw it. Now, the shape of the graph at times is like this also. It's not very perfect all the time. It depends on the data, right? So sometimes it is like this also. Okay. So this is how you will draw a cumulative frequency curve with the help of cumulative frequency table. So important things, this should be same. If it is not, we will see in the example what to do. You have to make a table and you have to plot it on the upper boundaries. Now let's see, from the given graph, I have to find out, or I have to estimate how many plants had a height less than 10.5 centimeter. So this is representing centimeter. I will go and see at 10.5, what is the value? 7 plants. So I will say 7 plants have height less than 10.5. So this is the part of it, right? Now this is something very important, and usually students make mistake here. 10% of the plant, 10% of plants had a height of at least X centimeter. Now you see, when I'm saying height at least, whenever the word at least comes, it means you're talking about more than certain thing. If I say you should have at least 100 rupees, it means 100 or more than that. So now you have to read it very carefully. Question is saying how many of the plants have height, 10% of the plants have height less at least X centimeter. So you need to find out what is that 10%. So you will find out 10% of 30, which is 3. It means I'm talking about from here, from the top, because these are the 3 plants which have a height more than X centimeter, right? So I will get it from here 16.5. So this was very important. Usually mistake is made when you get 3 on 3, the student mark 3 here and get the reading from here. No, this is telling me how many have less than this centimeter, this unit. Question is saying how many have at least X unit. So at least means more than. So that's why I'm interested in this part of the curve, right? Very important thing. So read the question carefully and then answer accordingly. Now, one very important thing, because from this cumulative frequency curve, I can find out upper quartile, lower quartile, and interquartile, right? Upper quartile we know is what? Just let me write here. Upper quartile is 75% of the data, lower quartile is 25% of the data, and median is, which is represented by Q2, is 50% of the data, right? So remember one thing, the rule is that to find out these values, you just use half of nth value, quarter of nth value. Nth is the highest value, right? In this case, it was 30. So if I do half of 30, quarter of 30, or 3/4 of 30, I will get Q1, Q2, and Q3. Now, what is told to you here is, because when you have a small data, and we will see those questions later on also in other videos, that to find out the quartiles, the formula we use is this, half of n plus 1, to find out the position of the values, right? But when you have cumulative frequency and it is based on the large value, so you can use this, right? It is usually used when n is large. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, you can see my stem plot video. You can see my, stem plot video, you will see the application of this formula here, what I'm talking about here, right? Right now, the focus should be on this. If I have to find out the values of median, low quartile, upper quartile, I will straight away use this formula rather than this. So this is how you will get your values. And if you do Q3 minus Q1, you will get interquartile range, right? Now, suppose this data is given, it is from past paper question. This data is given to you, you have to draw cumulative frequency curve. So this will be on your y-axis, this is your x-axis. Now, please use your scale very intelligently. You should use 75% of the graph paper. So let's see, here is the plot of the graph. It is starting from 100. Now, I'm sure you know this thing, very important thing, that on the x-axis, you don't need to use value 0 always. You can write 0 and then you can use zigzag, because it depends what do you need. So you use values from there. I can't use 100 from here and draw graph only on this part and this remain empty. This is not right. However, on the y-axis, you always start from 0, because otherwise it gives misinterpretation of the situation. So please remember this. On the x-axis, it is not necessary. So that's why they're starting it from 100 and completing the graph based on these upper boundaries. Okay. Use the curve to estimate the median height. Median mean Q2, which is 50%. So it is half of 400, because highest value is 400. So median is 200, which is here, right? Then the next part of the question is saying find the interquartile range. We know interquartile range is subtracting the value of Q3 minus Q1. So I need to calculate these two values, then only I can subtract. And Q1 is 1/4 of the data, which is 400, so it is 100. I will read against 100, whatever is my answer, and which is 121.5. And Q3 is 3/4 of 400, which is 137.5. So I will subtract these two answers to get my interquartile range, right? Now, another important thing here is, you will see in the past paper, when the cumulative frequency curve is here, they ask you that using the same scale, draw box and whisker here, right? So whatever the values here, using those scale, those values, you can draw your box and whisker graph here. What is Box and Whisker? You can see the video on Box and Whisker. You can find the link in the description below. So using the same scale, you can draw Box and Whisker here. And also cumulative frequency curve in exam, at times they give you two graphs for the comparison of data. You see with the help of this, they are drawing Box and Whisker graph also here. And what type of questions are asked with respect to this graph? For example, this is representing marks of maths of a class, and this is representing marks of English of a class. So in which paper did a student score better? How will you say? So you will take median of both. If I take median of this one, maths paper is coming like 29 and English paper is coming 50. So I can say that English paper was done, by most of the student better, right? You can comment with respect to this also, but we are not talking about it. We will see that in the description of Box and Whisker. So advantage is that it is used to read the comparison of the data also, and you can combine a big data also and present it here. However, the visual impact can alter by using different scale, right? And the actual raw data is also hidden. That is also one of the disadvantage, because in the group data, you don't know actually what was the value of certain thing, right? So thank you very much for watching this video. In the next video, we will see histogram explanation. So please press like and subscribe and share it with your friend if you think it is a useful video. Thank you very much. Take care.